Alright guys, it's jerningam here. I'm going to be showing you a video of what is happening in London for most of you guys that don't know. If you're not from the UK and you're not from England or London and what's going on at the minute, this video was 1 day ago. I'll show you what's going on. That'll probably be easier, what would say to me. So basically, just dropped my bloody phone just a minute. I'm just trying to find the video. Keep dropping things today, guys. I don't know what's wrong with me. So basically, what video I'm going to be showing you is, if you can see here, it says here, UK clashes break out between pro-Brexit and protesters and police. So basically, if you guys don't know what the story ground is or the background of the UK is, we wanted to leave the European Union on the 29th of March last year. I think it was last year. And then it was May, then it was April. Theresa May kept backdating the date all the time so she couldn't get a deal in Parliament. She tried for 3 times and failed. And the MPs kept blocking her from leaving the European Union. And which is kind of annoying. We all thought we were going to be leaving last year, and we're all getting ready for leaving for no deal. Some people say if you leave with no deal, it's bad for the country, and there'll be food shortages and people will lose their jobs. I mean, and people, it's all scaremongering. Sometimes you have to take chances and gambles with your life to make it work for you. Sometimes you have to do things you don't like to do, like this Brexit thing. People want to be free of England. We don't want to be part of the European Union anymore. Some people do and some people don't. That's why this thing on the TV is kicking off in London. Because people are just sick and tired of it. They're going around in a circle saying we're going to leave the EU. And then we've got Boris Johnson, who is the mayor of London. And he's trying to get in. He's trying to get people to leave the European Union because that's what we want. And Nigel Farage wants to team up with Boris Johnson. I mean, some of you guys don't follow politics, but I like to know what's going on in my own country. But the thing is, if they would have listened to the will of the people, 1.75 billion people wanted to leave the European Union and have no Brexit, and they didn't do it. They betrayed us, and that's how people are feeling on this video. Anyway, I'll show you guys what you think about it. There's probably going to be no volume on it, but I'll show you. So as you can see here, there's a lot of police here in London, and they're all kicking off because some people want to remain in the EU and some people don't. This is in London 1 day ago. Not a lot of people have seen this video, but some people have. I just thought I'd mention it and share this video with you guys if you've not seen it yet. England is a great place. It's just the people that are in it. If these MPs would stop blocking no deal, people would not kick off in London. There'd be no protests and there'd be no smashing stuff. Oh, there we go. We've got some volume. Phone just slightly glitched there. See, there's a lot of people angry and mad and all sorts. The country we're living in, guys, is just diabolical, in my opinion. See, a lot of angry people, and the police probably think they're aggressive. They're just putting their point across. Everyone has to put their point across something because it's not right, But we don't have the freedom of speech in this country or something. I'm going to show another video. So, what other videos have we got on here? Right, that's on. Look at wearing my Game Cave hat. Call it the Game Cave, representing the cave. It's a place where I go to buy my games and stuff, and DVDs and Blu-rays and whatever else. 7 hours ago. Here we go. I don't know what's going on here. Some president, I don't think it's enough to do with red carpet, The European Union.
De backstop is geen strafexpeditie, die is er vanwege de rode lijnen die de Britten zelf hebben getrokken bij Brexit. Wij hebben daar nooit om gevraagd. En gegeven
Talk about the backstop of Brexit. I'm sorry if it doesn't speak in English for you guys that speak English, or
op dit moment een
people
onvermijdelijkheid.
don't speak English, you probably understand this.
En Johnson heeft mij verzekerd, en daar vertrouw ik ook op, dat zij in Brussel gaan komen met concrete voorstellen, waardoor zij denken het probleem te kunnen oplossen. En ik heb hem gezegd dat we natuurlijk altijd openstaan voor voorstellen.
You just want to get this sorted, I think.
En daar dringen wij dus ook op aan, zo concreet mogelijk, omdat we weinig tijd hebben.
Would have been good if they actually put this in English so people can understand it. But they're not speaking in English, are they? I might turn the channel over for you guys. I mean, I don't think you guys are going to understand what they're trying to say. They're talking in Dutch, but not everybody speaks that language. Right, so I'm going to find what am I looking for here? Something I'm trying to find on here, but I don't know what I'm finding. It's kind of annoying when you think of them. Right, so what am I doing here?
If Amber Rudd's resignation from Cabinet and party isn't damaging enough, her departing comments are incendiary and provide a glimpse behind the scenes of Boris Johnson's government. The former Work and Pensions Secretary said the sacking of 21 Rebel MPs who had previously defied the government was an assault on decency and
a lot of people being
democracy
sacked
and an act
in the Conservative
of
Party.
vandalism. Downing Street said, "We are disappointed to learn that Amber has chosen to leave the government and the party. She was a talented welfare minister, but all ministers who joined Cabinet signed up to leaving the EU on October the 31st, come what may, delivering on the referendum result as the public were promised. That has not changed." Political figures from across the spectrum quick to comment on the resignation. Brexit Party leader Nigel Farage tweeted, "Why did Boris give ministerial posts to all these Remainers in the first place? Confused thinking, to say the least." And Sir Keir Starmer, the shadow Brexit secretary, tweeted, "Johnson government falling apart. He's being totally found out."
I think the Conservative Party is not just drifting to the right, it's absolutely galloping to the right of British politics, becoming a right-wing rump. It's everything other than in name the Brexit Party. That's the reality of it, and it's under Boris Johnson's stewardship.
Sky News understands that the Health Secretary Matt Hancock and Culture Secretary Nicky Morgan, both Remainers who
What is going on in
criticised
this
the
world
no-deal
and the
Brexit
country,
in
man?
the past, intend to stay on in their cabinet roles. Amber Rudd's resignation comes at a time when the Prime Minister is being buffeted from all directions. A new week in Parliament will see Boris Johnson try again for a general election. He's likely to fail, and his options are running very low. Boris Johnson, though, remains undeterred. The government source said the Prime Minister still intends to do whatever it takes to ensure that the UK leaves the EU on October the 31st. Nick Martin, Sky News, Westminster.
Let's hope we do leave on October the 31st this year, because they said this last year, and you know, people like to know what's going on in this world, but they don't tell us the full story, do they? Which is kind of irritating. It frustrates a lot of people when they're not honest in the world, and there's a lot of people like that. And yeah, let's have a look at this video.
We're on our way to High Rock, one of the worst hit towns on Grand Bahama. Down power lines snake across the road, which is only just passable. During Hurricane Dorian, it was an ocean.
Yeah, you all married? Okay, I trying to head up with them.
It's Dan Kemp's hometown. He hasn't been back since the Category 5 storm hit.
Dan, this is the furthest east you've been.
Yeah.
What do you make of what you see?
I don't know what to say. It's unbelievable. I've never seen anything like this. I mean, I've been through hurricanes, but not like this.
Total devastation, isn't it?
Total devastation.
It's a staggering sight. We reach what was the town's administrative centre, the police station, smashed open. The medical centre across the street, bulldozed, not by machines, but by nature at its most powerful. 500 people lived in High Rock. Locals told us 40 stayed during Dorian. 17 of them are now missing. People look stunned. The hurricane left only 4 days ago, parking here at peak force for 48 hours.
The roof is gone, your sofa is in the rafters.
Kenneth appears to be in total shock.
That's your brother's wheelchair.
Yeah, he's missing.
He's missing.
He's dead, yeah.
I'm so sorry.
No problem.
The terror people must have felt in their final moments is unimaginable. There is no official aid here yet, so people are doing what they can.
I cannot let somebody die like that.
Pastor Cecil Kemp saved his neighbour who was clinging to this tree. Other neighbours are gone forever. This is Dan's daughter, returning to what was her grandparents' home. They are at least safe, but these salvaged mementos are all they have now.
Clothes. Nobody have no clothes on the back of the wheel. You have no clothes. You have nothing. The residents have described to us how a huge wave came from the north and swept through this area, destroying everything in its path. We'd have been underwater here a couple of days ago. You can see where the water was at the top of that debris, and it was such a and a whole manner of things across here, chairs, TV monitors swept out of people's homes. There's even a bottle of aftershave from a bathroom cabinet. Everything that it came through, destroyed, and brought out towards the ocean, which they can now see here because everything has been found.
It's remarkable that anyone or anything survived. These now calm waters have this town under siege. People are dazed by trauma, in desperate need of food and shelter. In this tight community, they're doing what they can for each other, but it's nowhere near enough. Dan will return with as many supplies as he can.
Can High Rock recover?
Yeah, it can, but it's going to be a long time. It's not going to be no months, maybe years.
Amanda Walker, Sky News, High Rock, Grand Bahama.
Oh man, I tell you, what was this? There's just so much confusion in this world. You know, there's always something happening, and makes you wonder half the time, guys. Just trying to see what else is on this thing I can see. No, I'm just thinking. Always thinking life.
Green light. I want you to move like this.
Hate these adverts.
We're about to work. We're off for.
Just too many adverts on the TV. I suppose that's how they make the money on this sort of thing. Sorry it's taken me so long to try and find a video, but I'm just looking. This is Theresa May's video 3 months ago.
Ever since I first stepped through the door behind me as Prime
So if you guys
Minister,
don't know who Theresa May
I
was,
driven to make
I'm
the
showing some
United
old videos
Kingdom
now.
a country that works not just for a privileged few, but for everyone, and to honour the result of the EU referendum. Back in 2016, we gave the British people a choice. Against all predictions, the British people voted to leave the European Union. I feel as certain today as I did 3 years ago that in a democracy, if you give people a choice, you have a duty to implement what they decide. I have done my best to do that. I negotiated the terms of our exit and a new relationship with our closest neighbours that protects jobs, our security and our union. I have done everything I can to convince MPs to back that deal.
But she didn't back a deal, though.
Sadly, I have not been able to do so. I tried 3 times. I believe it was right to persevere, even when the odds of success seemed high. But it is now clear to me that it is in the best interests of the country for a new Prime Minister to lead that effort. So I am today announcing that I will resign as leader of the Conservative and Unionist Party on Friday the 7th of June, so that a successor can be chosen. I've agreed with the party chairman and with the chairman of the 1922 committee that the process for electing a new leader should begin in the following week. I have kept Her Majesty the Queen fully informed of my intentions, and I will continue to serve as her Prime Minister until the process has concluded. It is, and will always remain, a matter of deep regret to me that I have not been able to deliver Brexit. It will be for my successor to seek a way forward that honours the result of the referendum. To succeed, he or she will have to find consensus in Parliament where I have not. Such a consensus can only be reached if those on all sides of the debate are willing to compromise. For many years, the great humanitarian Sir Nicholas Winton, who saved the lives of hundreds of children by arranging their evacuation from Nazi-occupied Czechoslovakia through the Kindertransport, was my constituent in Maidenhead. At another time of political controversy, a few years before his death, he took me to one side at a local event and gave me a piece of advice. He said, "Never forget that compromise is not a dirty word. Life depends on compromise." He was right. As we strive to find the compromises we need in our politics, whether to deliver Brexit or to restore devolved government in Northern Ireland, we must remember what brought us here. Because the referendum was not just a call to leave the EU, but for profound change in our country. A call to make the United Kingdom a country that truly works for everyone. I'm proud of the progress we have made over the last 3 years. We have completed the work that David Cameron and George Osborne started. The deficit is almost eliminated. Our national debt is falling and we are bringing an end to austerity. My focus has been on ensuring that the good jobs of the future will be created in communities across the whole country, not just in London and the South East, through our modern industrial strategy. We have helped more people than ever enjoy the security of a job. We are building more homes and helping first-time buyers onto the housing ladder, so young people can enjoy the opportunities their parents did. And we are protecting the environment, eliminating plastic waste, tackling climate change, and improving air quality. This is what a decent, moderate and patriotic Conservative government on the common ground of British politics can achieve, even as we tackle the biggest peacetime challenge any government has faced. I know that the Conservative Party can renew itself in the years ahead, that we can deliver Brexit and serve the British people with policies inspired by our values. Security, freedom and opportunity. Those values have guided me throughout my career. But the unique privilege of this office is to use this platform to give a voice to the voiceless, to fight the burning injustices that still scar our society. That is why I put proper funding for mental health at the heart of our NHS long-term plan. It's why I'm ending the postcode lottery for survivors of domestic abuse. It is why the race disparity audit and gender pay reporting are shining a light on inequality, so it has nowhere to hide. And it is why I set up the independent public inquiry into the tragedy at Grenfell Tower, to search for the truth, so nothing like it can ever happen again. And so the people who lost their lives that night are never forgotten. Because this country is a union, not just a family of 4 nations, but a union of people, all of us. Whatever our background, the colour of our skin, or who we love, we stand together, and together we have a great future. Our politics may be under strain, but there is so much that is good about this country, so much to be proud of, so much to be optimistic about. I will shortly leave the job that it has been the honour of my life to hold. The second female Prime Minister, but certainly not the last. I do so with no ill will, but with enormous and enduring gratitude to have had the opportunity to serve the country I love.
Well,
look, if you fly...
just trying to think here.
Look, if you fly into Gatwick, you'll see lots of green spaces. That is certainly true. However, if you have a country in which the population goes up as a direct result of immigration, what you find is not a shortage of green fields, if that's where you wanted to build houses. You find a shortage of primary school places. You find a shortage of GP surgeries. You know, we have fewer GPs per head than any other country in Europe today. You find congestion, whether it's on the roads, on the London Underground, or wherever you go. And what you find is that actually you're constantly playing catch up, and really the general quality of life for the massive population has gone down. So I think those comments today were wholly irresponsible. And what we've seen, I mean, it's quite interesting to think that, you know, in 1990, the population of this country was 55 million. It is now between 62 and 63 million. That is a massive, massive increase. And I think ordinary folk, and I think, having a proper immigration policy, controlling the numbers, doing what nearly 200 countries in the world do, namely controlling the numbers that come and the type of people that come, is the answer. Right? Russell Brown.
I sometimes feel worried about you, Nigel Farage. The reason I feel worried is because I know a lot of people are frightened in our country. I know a lot of people are feeling afraid and frustrated. And there is a sense that there is a corrupt group in our country using our resources, taking away our jobs, taking away our housing, not paying taxes, exploiting us. And there is an economic elite that this man's party is funded by, that this man comes from background working in the city. Let me tell you something. There was an economic crash and a lot of money was lost. His mates in the city farted. Nigel Farage is pointing at immigrants and the disabled and holding his nose. Immigrants are not causing the economic problems and suffering we're experiencing. As much as any of us, I enjoy seeing Nigel Farage in a boozer with a pint and a fag, laughing off his latest scandals about breastfeeding or whatever. I enjoy it. But this man is not a cartoon character. He ain't Del Boy. He ain't Arthur Daly. He is a pound shop Enoch Powell, and we got to watch him.
Well, Russell, that's all well and good, and you've got your point of view. The question was, is Britain overcrowded? And do you think I'm wrong? I mean, do you
yes.
not think?
Nigel, can I not be wrong with you, mate? I think you're wrong. I come from the kind of...
This is called question time, this programme, right? And
well, tonight you can have
and what happens is, members of the audience ask questions, and we're expected to answer them. You haven't answered this lady's question. Do you think Britain's overcrowded and there is a strain on public resources and people's quality of life?
We need more money for public resources. The country's not overcrowded. It's going to come... Oh, I'm so glad you asked, mate. Since the financial crash, banker bonuses have exceeded £80 billion. George Osborne, your Chancellor, campaigned to stop caps being placed on banker bonuses. At the same time, there were austerity cuts against the poorest among us, the disabled, people that we need to be looking after. That we need to close tax loopholes which are exploited by big corporations. There's money. I've got money now. I've seen rich people. There's plenty of money out there. It's just not being distributed.
Yes. And I don't like people preaching that I am any part responsible for anything. I've never heard him criticised as disabled.
I never have.
Okay? Never. Okay? And you are a campaigner. Yeah? I'm going to go back to the last question.
I'm committed, mate.
Stand. Stand for Parliament. If you're going to campaign, then stand. Okay? Okay, you have the media profile for it. Do it.
My problem would be, mate, I'd stand for Parliament, but I'd be scared I'd become one of them. I know what side of the
No, I'm sorry. You've full addiction. You've full addiction and you've beaten it, okay? You can't preach that. That is rubbish.
Mate,
you cannot preach that.
I'm not preaching.
Well, you are. You've attacked him, okay?
Yeah.
Okay? And you've attacked him, and you've attacked everybody that stands for his party.
I do.
We're trying. I'm sorry. They are people on the street. Oh, are they? Rubbish. I'm sorry, but at the end of the day, it's the general public that are standing for him.
Trying to blame everybody else for the cop-outs because of his rich.
Russell, you've got some voters here, mate. You ought to stand. I mean, these are your voters. They're lovely people, aren't they? They're lovely people.
And just for a voice up here, you say on the go, Lee.
The point I want to make to Russell is that you say you claim to sort of stand up for the working classes, but you've got to understand that it's the working classes that have been hit the hardest by immigration, mass immigration. You know, wage compression, the change in communities over a short period of time has led to, tension within communities. You've got to appreciate that actually, it's all right to say, criticising UKIP and Nigel Farage, but actually it's the people at the bottom of society that have been hit the hardest by immigration.
I'm telling you, mate, honestly, I come from the same community as you come from. I've been very lucky and I've had a few breaks and I've got a few quid now. And I'm telling you that immigration has always been happening. What happened in 2008 was very unique. If I thought, my friend, I swear to you, if I thought, listen, try this, for 2 years, turn your focus to corruption in the city, turn your focus to apathetic politicians, turn yourself to the corruptions going on there, and if in 2 years' time your life ain't got better, campaigning against the people that have wealth and power, not those that have very little, if it's still the same, I'll come with you and campaign, but I'm telling you, I know where the power is, I know where the money is, I know what we've got to do.
Well, that was quite an interesting video, but
since you took over, we've seen Greece reduced to nothing more than a protectorate. Sir, you have no legitimacy in this job at all, and I can say with confidence that I can speak on behalf of the majority of the British people in saying, we don't know you, we don't want you, and the sooner you're put out to grass, the better.
That's the last time you are applauding here. And to some extent, I'm really surprised that you are here. You were fighting for the exit. The British people voted in favor of the exit. Why are you here?
Isn't it funny? You know, when I came here 17 years ago, and I said I wanted to lead a campaign to get Britain to leave the European Union, you all laughed at me. Well, I have to say, you're not laughing now, are you? And the reason you're so upset, the reason you're so angry, has been perfectly clear from all the angry exchanges this morning. You, as a political project, are in denial. Is failing. You're in denial. Well, just look at the Mediterranean. No. As a policy to impose poverty on Greece and the rest of the Mediterranean, you've done very well. And you're in denial over Mrs. Merkel's call last year for as many people as possible to cross the Mediterranean into the European Union has led to massive divisions between countries and within countries. But the biggest problem you've got, and the main reason the United Kingdom voted the way that it did, is you have, by stealth, by deception, without ever telling the truth to the British or the rest of the peoples of Europe, you have imposed upon them a political union. Now, I know that virtually none of you have ever done a proper job in your lives, or worked in business, or worked trade, or indeed ever created a job. But listen, just listen. Now, you're quite right, Mr. Schultz. UKIP used to protest against the establishment, and now the establishment protests against UKIP. So something has happened here. Let us listen to some simple, pragmatic economics. We, between your countries and my country, we do an enormous amount of business in goods and services. That trade is mutually beneficial to both of us. That trade matters. If you were to decide to cut off your noses, to spite your faces, and to reject any idea of a sensible trade deal, the consequences would be far worse for you than it would be for us. And even no deal is better for the United Kingdom than the current rotten deal that we've got. I'm in no doubt that this withdrawal agreement is a good deal. It's a good deal because it involves large transfers of money. It's a good deal because it maintains free movement of people. It's a good deal because it keeps Britain in the customs union and stuck with the EU's rulebook. And crucially, the key point, as Mr. Barnier said this morning, there is the backstop, which means, of course, the United Kingdom can be held effectively as a hostage for many years to come. It's a good deal for the European Union. For the UK, I think it's probably the worst deal in history. Mr. Barnier, you say this is the only possible deal, but this deal isn't going to be accepted. So perhaps we all need to grow up and recognise that there is a strong chance now of the UK leaving on March the 29th with a WTO no deal. We need a negotiated deal to deal with sensible border issues. I wonder, Mr. Barnier, are you prepared for that? Because you seem this morning to assume that the British Parliament is going to ratify this. It isn't.
So the United Kingdom is master of its own borders. So let's not invent anything. Because, Mr. Farage, that is telling us stories. You told us a few days ago that you made a mistake on the budgetary aspects of what was at stake in the relationship between the EU and the UK. If you'd said that before the vote, then I wouldn't need to congratulate you, but you lied. You didn't tell the truth. You fabricated reality.
Yeah.
I enjoy debating with you, sparring with you, Mr. Farage. I think we share a similar sense of humour. You used to have a sense of humour, I still do, I think. But I find it regrettable that this is going to be the last occasion that we'll be able to debate because you won't be coming back.
Belgium is not a nation. It's an artificial creation. I know the Brits did it. Maybe once again we can be blamed. But the truth is there are two parts of Belgium. They speak different languages. They dislike each other intensely. There's no national TV station. There's no national newspaper. Belgium is not a nation, and maybe that's why you're happy to sign up to a high European level. Well, if Belgium wants it, that's fine, but I can assure you, and you can scream and shout all you like, Just look at the election result. You're losing, folks. You're losing. Brexit is the first brick out the wall. You won some elections. The days of this project are over. We want to live in nation states, not false artificial creations. Thank you, everybody. Have a lovely time. Oh, enjoy the European elections next year. They're going to be great fun. Well, I may be speaking from the back of the chamber today, but as I predicted last time I was here, in the European elections, the Brexit Party were very much to the front of the elections and massive, massive winners. And I come back to a place that has been humbled and humiliated. The European Council stitch-up has rendered this place impotent until today, when you've got some real power if you choose to use it. What you've seen from Ursula von der Leyen today is an attempt the European Union to take control of every single aspect of our lives. She wants to build a centralised, undemocratic, updated form of communism that will render nation-state parliaments, where the state controls everything, where nation-state parliaments will cease to have any relevance at all. I have to say, from our perspective, in some ways, I'm really rather pleased, because you've just made Brexit a lot more popular in the United Kingdom. Thank God we're leaving. But it is in the aspect of defence that I think people's minds should be focused. She's a fanatic, a European army, but she's not alone. When it's completed, NATO will cease to exist or have any relevance in Europe at all. And of course, not to be left out of this, French President Emmanuel Macron, on Bastille Day last Sunday, stood at the front of an open-top car with his nascent European Defence Force behind him, looking for the world like an updated version of Napoleon. Be in no doubt, 5 years of these people, the European Defence Union will be complete. And what is there for defence can also be used for attack. And you as a House will have no control over it. Vote against this nominee, strike a blow for democracy, strike a blow for your citizens. Do it today.
Well, that was quite interesting.
Good evening. American and British forces brought shock and awe to Baghdad tonight.
An instinctive journalist, Bob Friend's career spanned 4 continents and more than 50 years.
Should take more refugees.
He joined Sky on day 1, becoming one of the main presenters on the fledgling satellite broadcaster.
Bob was a distinguished journalist and admired broadcaster who was quick to understand his programming. He was there from the beginning of that long, hard road we all had to travel to help make Sky News what it is today. Bob was a tireless worker, and true to form, he put up a good fight.
With Bob Friend and Anna Botting.
Good evening. The Chief Constable of Sussex Police is facing suspension tonight.
And never far from the journalism that Bob took so seriously, his brilliant sense of humour.
Kate Winslet has reluctantly gone on a diet to shift the weight she gained during pregnancy because she thinks she might not get work otherwise. The Titanic, or the star of the Titanic, has often spoken out for people with fuller figures, but now she's decided to trim her vital statistics. Welcome back. You're watching Sky News Morning Edition. The time now is 9 o'clock. The time now is 9:32.
Bob was Bob. What you saw off screen was what you got on screen. He was absolutely no different. It didn't matter whoever you were, he would treat you in exactly the same way. He was a very humble guy, and he had no great airs and graces. He just got on with the job and did it remarkably well.
After 156 years of British rule, China takes over the vibrant and enormously successful island of Hong Kong and the new territories.
He began his career aged 15 on the local paper in Kent. His first stories, street parties for the coronation. National service with the Gurkhas in Hong Kong followed, before 9 years with national newspapers. His broadcasting break came with BBC Radio, 4 years in Northern Ireland and the sectarian violence at the start of the Troubles. A short stint in Vietnam led to his first foreign posting and the BBC's first Australia correspondent, before Tokyo and then New York covering the States.
He'd grown into his trade, he'd become a marvellous rounded figure who had a huge depth of knowledge about the world, and crucially he could convey that in an easy and familiar way to people, and that's what made him a remarkable person to watch on screen.
His journalism and personality recognised with an MBE at Buckingham Palace.
I never thought I'd get an award for anything, to be perfectly honest.
You're going to pin it to your chest.
Wear it every night. I got pyjamas with special reinforced fronts, so I put it on there at night. Take it off in the morning.
His on-screen presence was in demand.
Federal agents claim to have found the brains behind an international drug ring. The operation was masterminded by Margaret Ethan Hunt and her brother-in-law Donald Hunt.
We just did research, and I said, look, let's see if we can get Bob Flynn. We checked with him, and he had time. He came in, and it's a wonderful little moment in the movie.
Hi, Bob. What are you doing?
Good to see you.
I wanted to thank you for my brief moment of
Yes. Wonderful. Thank you for doing that.
It seemed that nothing, however controversial, could spoil the friendly atmosphere.
His skill to recognise the serious and to celebrate the absurd, unmatched today.
There are many different ways to learn a language. Here at the base of Mount Fuji, the methods they employ are, to put it mildly, somewhat different. My way is the school theme song. Learning the words is a must, even if it means straining the vocal cords to breaking point. That's it from us. Line of 5, or line of 4 is what
God blimey.
Here in the UK,
I reckon I should leave it for this video for now, guys. Hope you've all enjoyed it. Thank you for joining me. Please like, comment, subscribe, and share these videos with your friends. And no doubt I'll be back and doing another video like this later or tomorrow. Thank you for joining me, guys, and see you next one. Peace. See you later, guys. Peace. Don't worry, I'll be back to do more videos. I'm not going to just give up there. Okay. See you later, guys. Peace.